Hello, everybody. This is Dallin, Candland, back with you today. I'm super excited to be recording a new episode. It is September 16th, 2019. A new semester of school started today. Woo! It's been a good day. I'm ready to move on with the rest of the semester and just move on with life. One big thing I've learned today is just that, God's got your back. I was kind of worried about this semester, but if you just keep trusting God, keep reading the scriptures, stay true to the knowledge that you have, man, he's going to make good stuff happen. I was amazed over and over again bumping into people I've known, and it was just amazing to be like, you're in this class? Dude, this could be sick. And that happened multiple times. I am so pumped. With that said, we're going to jump into today's topic really fast. This episode is called When Your Battery Life is Low. Let me take you back to just this past Friday. I was a new student mentor at BYU, Idaho. It's the second time I've done this. Pretty much with this program that's run by student support, you help the new students acclimate to the university, and there's an acronym that they had us all share, and it's SUP. So it's to get the students in touch with their savior, the university, and their potential. It went really well. I've had some experience in those areas. It was good. However, at the end of the day, kind of more like 4 p.m.-ish, I was starting to be really, really tired. And I noticed that little things were bugging me like a lot. And we were just all in this little new student mentor meeting. And my cousin Clark, I felt prompted to give him a call earlier that day. I've talked about him in previous episodes. He's super awesome. And I gave him a call. And what happened was he gave me a call back in the middle of that meeting. And I just picked it up really fast. I was like, dude, I'll call you back. And then I just hung up the phone. And then literally like 5 seconds later, it seemed like he called again. And I was like, well, I guess I'm going to talk to Clark. So that's what I did. And he talked to me for about 45 minutes. And Clark's always just been a really good example, mentor, just a really good friend and cousin, an amazing consultant, I guess, for me. Just so helpful. He deserves to be paid. It really does for the advice he gave me today. Well, last Friday. He's like, Dallin, I feel like you just are trying to do too much, and this is kind of wearing you down. And at the time I was like, dude, I'm not doing enough. Like, you don't even know, like I wanted to write my book and I wanted to get this podcast going. I wanted to get a YouTube channel I want to get it blown up by December, And then he just said, I think you should take a couple things out of your life. So I kind of said some prayers and I was like, you know what? There's some things in my life that I'm not really pursuing, but they've just been taking up valuable space. Or as I'll talk about later in this episode, battery life on my life. So I kind of cut those out, and now those are more like optional things. Get those done if I have time. It's not crucial. It's not essential. And I'm reading a book, listening to it rather, on my Audible free 1-month trial with 2 free books about essentialism, and it's amazing. So that combined with Clark's advice and prayer, you know where this is going. I feel a lot better now. I feel a lot better. It's been really nice. So one of the biggest things I took away from my talk with Clark, he said, Dallin, you're amazing, but you don't have to be amazing every second of the day. You can be good at some points and amazing in other days. So that's what I've been focusing on the last little bit. It's not like sharing the perfect thing with somebody, because I can be a little bit of a perfectionist. And talking with Clark kind of helped me see that. So we're out with that. And I put a pop filter over my mic. I bought a brand new mic, like a brand spanking new bike. A mic. It was $70. But they said it was the best for podcasting for beginners. So we took the plunge. I bought an arm head thingy and I need to set that up. But so far, things are going pretty good. I hope you guys can hear this well. You'll have to let me know. And sorry there hasn't been an episode the last little bit. Thank you for all the comments I've been getting and different things. I hope you've enjoyed it. It is now available on iTunes and Spotify. Not available on YouTube yet, but I'm going to figure that out soon. With that said, so battery life. I remember when I first got an iPod Touch back in the way back days, and I remember downloading this app called Battery Saver 2.0. It was back in the day when I had this app that literally told me what apps went on sale and what apps went free. And I got a lot of really good stuff from that. One thing was this Battery Saver app. And it would tell me, hey, this part of your iPod Touch is taking up this much battery life per minute. And it said like km per charge or something. Really fancy sounding. And I was like, that is so weird that Peggle takes up all this space even though I don't play it very much. Same thing with like NBA Jam. And that app got me to delete some of those apps over time, you know. The iPod Touch 4th generation wasn't a powerhouse, and the iPhone 5S isn't really a powerhouse that I have right now, but I'm very thankful for it, and it has saved me a lot of times, and it's helped me out. I don't know. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. I feel like you need to do a similar thing for your own life. You need to be careful of what you allow in, because these all put drains on your brain's power and your brain's mentality. Like, I remember being told as a younger kid that, Dallin, if you keep watching that show, you're going to lose brain cells. And I didn't know what they were talking about. But now I have been in situations where I did feel I was losing brain cells. I was getting dumber just by being there. So just as there are ways to totally minimize the amount of battery life you get for your life and for your devices, there's also ways to increase it, you know, to take better care of it. One good way for phones is to turn off the silly screen when you're not using it. I can get in tons of music time. You can I can listen to my iPod for like 14 hours. Never have done that, I don't think. But you can listen to it that long without charging it. Or you can spend that time for like 2 hours of YouTube with data or whatever. So it's your choice. It's your choice. Your life is yours to live, and I would not recommend doing the exact same thing every day, but I would recommend changing it up here and there. It really helped me out. It's been sweet. This is an analogy that I heard when I was about 12, 13 years old. Now I'm like a sucker for analogies. Like, oh, I love analogies. I was trying to think of an analogy today while I was walking around about email marketing, because that's one of my classes. I'm like, what's a good emailing list analogy? Like an island, or I don't know. I'm going to figure it out, and it's going to be sick. But we're not at that point yet. So I remember I was in church. I was 13 years old, and I still remember this. Our teacher for that day, he's a super awesome guy. He went up there and was like, guys, you need to keep reading your scriptures. You need to keep saying your prayers. You need to keep going to church. Why? Because this is recharging your battery. And I think that's another big part of it. Sunday supercharged me a couple days ago. Yesterday. It was super good. I got a nap. I got to hear some good stuff. Got to meet some new people. Got to see some old people that I know. And it was all super energizing. All super good. Ever since I've kind of found out about this phenomenon, I've really tried to do more of the habits and things that will make the most of my battery life. You could think about this. I was thinking about this more in a long-term perspective, like weekly, but you can think about it as daily. Every day you get up and you have time to get stuff done. You have energy if you got some sleep, but it's up to you how you use that energy. One of the most frustrating things in the entire world is when I spend a lot of time on the internet, and this hasn't happened lately. I'm on the internet, and then I realize I'm fully awake, and I've gotten zero zilch, nothing done in about like an hour and a half of time. Whereas I know that if I had applied myself, I could have gotten a ton of work done on my book, researching for the podcast, anything. And now I have homework, so I'm always going to have something to do. For me, like having these little habits, like I'm trying to get back into juggling. I have been running a little bit, not as much as I wanted to. Was going to play some basketball today, but it just didn't happen. But I did run into a friend today who said maybe if he joins the basketball team, he'll invite me to join it too. Just a couple quick tips for you guys, the quick three, are you ready? All right, so number one, you wanna be careful of how you use your free time. Because your free time, I mean, there's things that you have to do to exist. You have to eat, you have to sleep, you should probably be reading something. I am totally an advocate for that. Scriptures, self-help books, whatever. It can all really push you and help you a lot. I've been reading a biography about Gordon B. Hinckley for the last little bit, and that's like a constant in my life. I read like 30 pages of it last night because I couldn't sleep. Having those kinds of things in your life really can help you out. So you need to be very careful of how you use your free time. It can really make or break you. My next class doesn't start until like 10:15 a.m. and I'm hoping to get some good homework done and also get some writing in my book done. But I could also sleep in until 9:30, take a little shower, eat a tiny breakfast, and go to class. That sounds awful. I don't want to do that. But it's going to take me to get some, I'm going to have to get some sleep. I'm going to have to put myself on the charger for a pretty good amount of time if I want to get the results out of tomorrow that I want. So that's tip number 1. Just be careful of how you use your free time. Number 2 is you just want to be careful how long you do things. This is something I fall prey to. I will be doing something for so long, like 2 hours or so, and all of a sudden, I'm so slow at doing it, it's not effective anymore. It's better to just stop doing it, close the app, or in this case, close that part of your life for just like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and just take a break, go for a walk. I will talk about it again. There was this one day where I just laid down on the ground on the basketball court over here, and it was great. I just looked at the stars, and there was nothing. It was just great. So do stuff like that, treat yourself, do that kind of thing. So number two is to keep track of how long you're doing things. Lately, I've been keeping I've been keeping a tracker on an Excel sheet that talks about whenever I waste time, like an inordinate amount of time when I don't want to waste that much time, which is always. I don't like wasting time. But and so far, like I did pull one all-nighter like last month, a couple weeks ago, and it was rough. It was sad. I was upset. So I marked it. I'm like, this is valuable information. I am never doing this again for as long as I live. And so far, we're doing pretty good. There was one time when I watched a little bit of a movie that I didn't really want to watch the rest of, and it wasn't like bad. It wasn't a bad movie. It was Road to El Dorado from like Disney or something. But like I had this feeling that the rest of the movie was just gonna be worthless, and I don't know. I just had this feeling that it wasn't going to be worth my time. Usually when I watch a movie, it is to get something spiritual out of it, to feel like a kid. I don't know. I'm a baby when it comes to movies, but I've also gotten some really, really cool ideas from watching movies. So it was actually Radio Rebel, silly Disney Channel movie. I'm never going to watch it again, but it did make me think about podcasting a little bit. And I saw that probably when I was like 17 on Netflix first time. So yeah, at the time I didn't really have the means. I could have tried to make it happen, but now in college, it's a perfect time to get it started. I talked a lot with one of my professors about websites and hosting and email lists and all that stuff. So a lot of good stuff is coming, guys. So yeah, that's the second tip. My third tip is just remember that you're a very valuable person and you are a very valuable asset to the world. Like you can maximize your battery life, so to speak. You can change your life, This cool book I read, I think it was from The Magic of Thinking Big. It said the main force for changing your life is you. I think there's a ton of truth to that. If you say something's going to happen, that's a lot more powerful than Bobby Joe saying, hey, Dallin's going to get a new job. Because sure, that's cool, but when I say, hey, I'm going to get a new job, I'm going to do this and that, that's a lot more powerful. Like, nothing's going to stop me. Like, that's a lot more powerful than somebody else saying they're going to do it. Yeah, just remember, like, you are really powerful. And I figured this out in my life a lot more. And lately, I've made this new paradigm shift. Lately, I've been looking at my Instagram likes and stuff and my followers, and I'm like, why? Oh, that's great, but I want to see me making a difference. Lately, I've been getting more comments, and I'm like, if I can get a good comment or somebody like, this is awesome, that is way more worth it to me, at least for right now, than like 20, 50 likes, That's great and all. But when you help somebody feel a feeling that they weren't feeling at that time, that is very special. That is extraordinary. That is worth celebrating. So that's kind of my thoughts for today. Thank you so much for listening. I'm going to get some guests on this podcast soonish. I'm going to keep figuring this out. Hopefully get the YouTube channel launched. I want to make sure it's ready and good to go before I officially launch it. Definitely rate the podcast on iTunes. That's how I'll get noticed. That's how this podcast is going to get traction, is if it gets traction. What do you know? Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening, and definitely let me know if there's something you'd like to hear about, story you'd like to hear about. I love telling stories. Thank you guys. Love you all. Thank you again. I will see you guys next Monday, or maybe earlier, because I do want to catch up. We'll see. Take care, guys. Bye.